No, I think the obstacles in the film is slightly different from
Right.
being an actor and trying to
course.
look for work in Mumbai. My obstacles were, of course, to get that first film, to get that first job, which is not easy. So it took me around 2 years to every day go out, look for work. So it wasn't easy, of course, but there was no plan B. So this was the only thing I was always meant to and supposed to do, and doing it every day. But in the film, of course, he is a failed cricketer. My character Mahi is a failed cricketer, but he was very, very passionate about cricket. That was the only thing. That was the love of his life. But for some reason, he could not make it, and under family pressure and under his father's pressure, he just chose to do something else altogether. But he's not happy about it. Like, I'm sure there are so many people out there who wanted to be someone else, but they could not for whatever reason. So I think a lot of people, I would say, would relate to this story and this drama that way. Yeah. But then he starts living his dream through her.
Through her
Yeah.
character.
I don't know if you can say that there were obstacles. Is I feel a very heavy word. I think I was very fortunate to get the opportunities that I did get, and I recognize and I value that. I think if there was any obstacle and resistance, I think it would be things like, I guess, people's perceptions and I guess preconceived notions and the baggage that one attributes with someone who they think come from a place of privilege. So I guess encouraging them to unlearn that perception and that baggage that they come with, and sometimes I feel like it weighs heavy on the way that they see my work.
Okay.
I guess that would be the only obstacle.
Okay.
No, I think we are that way pretty fortunate that we are getting to do the kind of film that we want to do and to work with these makers. I think the only obstacle would be for these films to reach out there and for people to come into theaters to watch, so that we can also make many more films like these. We can tell these beautiful stories, again and again.
Janhvi?
Yeah, no, I agree with him completely. I think if anything, the shift in the way the audience is consuming cinema post the pandemic has forced us to recalibrate a little bit. And I think it's a good time for people to, which I think they always have recognized good work, but like these mid-range films, for them to get their due and for more people to be incentivized to put money in and make those kind of films that are really only based on the story and aren't your typical Ted Pole kind of big commercial films. क्योंकि वैसे कितने ही बना लोगे आप?
Right.
I think as actors you crave and you itch to do films or tell stories like Mr. and Mrs. Mahi. So I hope that people lap it up and enjoy it, and we get to make more such films.
She had to go through a very rigorous training. In my case, I was also getting trained, but not as extensively as her character was supposed to be playing cricket. But I was pretty familiar with the game because I grew up playing cricket, watching cricket. So it came very naturally to me. But still, I had to learn all those technicalities. Like it's very different from how you play cricket. In gully cricket.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. But yeah, I think she really had to go through a lot for 2 years.
I had 2 injuries that forced me to not do anything for three months. So I think that added to the time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, overall it was a process of about 2 years. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it because I realized the movements in cricket are like the opposite of what comes naturally to the human body. Like the angle with which you need to hold the bat and timing it and hitting it and the swing. Because I think gully cricket, correct me if I'm wrong, is all about just connecting and hitting the
every
shot.
ball out of the park.
But there's so many technicalities with like refined, practiced cricket. So to learn that was very difficult. There are still 2-3 shots that like the square cut and the flick. Those 2 shots तो मतलब 2-3 जन्म में नहीं सीख पाऊंगी मैं. Cover drive ठीक से खेल लेती हूँ. But yeah, so I think at the start it took a minute, and then I felt like I was making a lot of good progress. I was hitting around like 500 balls a day. Then the injuries happened, and then they had to monitor my workload a little bit.
Okay.
No, I think on a film set once briefly to like act cute. I was like, but no, not really.
No, it's not difficult. I think it's absolutely up to you. nobody is forcing you to do any kind of stuff. These are the stories that that has touched our hearts, and we have said yes to them. So it's pretty easy actually to know the way, the kind of films that you want to do, and to take your career in the direction that you want to take it to. No, saying no is the most, I think it's the toughest thing.
It's the toughest thing. So, yeah, I've
Nobody
been
wants
very
to listen
bad
to
at
a
it.
no. Yeah. You have to, of course, you have to say no to a lot of films. You cannot just do everything that comes your way. But in my case, I just try and be very sincere and tell them very honestly that, my heart is not there. And I don't really want to do something which is half-hearted.
Yeah, this is something I've learned recently. I've been very bad at saying no. I feel like कोई आया है फिल्म के साथ तो मुझे हाँ बोलना ही है और फिर बाद में then I like think of a way to somehow muster up the courage to be honest, but I just feel like I have to say, I don't know. I'm very bad at saying no.
To his own. I think if it's going from producer's pocket and that producer is not happy about it, then don't pay it. Don't take that actor, take someone else.
No, and I'm sure like you can have a dialogue with the actor about it, and it's not like at least an actor like Raj, and I would like to think me as well. I think our priority is to make a good film the best way that it can be made, and if something is proving to be a burden on the producer's head, I'm sure we'd like make
Absolutely
concessions.
But I think it's up to you then. And then absolutely it's up to you also just to talk positive about films and just motivate people to go out and watch film in theaters. Good films at least. It's our job as a team because we work in the same fraternity. But saying that, there have been examples where good films have found their found their audiences, and I'm very hopeful that if film is good, eventually there will be a large number of audience for it. Maybe it will start slow, but with word of mouth, which is the best PR around a film, it will just grow from there. I'm very hopeful about Srikanth and Mr. and Mrs. Mahi because they are both really genuinely good films.
Yeah, like he said, every film finds its audience, and sometimes, you don't get what you hope out of a film. I've been in many scenarios where I've put all of my eggs in one basket, and I'm like, "Acha, ye ek film aayegi na, to sab set hai." But sometimes you don't realize what you need out of it, और वो जो film का एक जो किस्मत होती है, जो लिखा होता है एक. I guess what I'm trying to say is eventually what's meant to happen with the film always happens, and it might not be what you expect, but it'll be what I think the film deserves. I've always been a fan of their cinema. I think I love the conviction with which they make their films, and I love the kind of charisma that the actors hold there. Not to say that we don't have charisma here, but I think you know what I mean. There's a there's a swagger. There's a the way that they even portray their heroes. They romanticize their heroines. There's a very specific flavor to Telugu cinema, even Tamil cinema, and even Malayalam cinema. I think they're also individual, but I mean, Dad's made so many remakes. So a big activity at home was always to watch Tamil and Telugu films, and he was obsessed with buying their rights and this and that. So it's been a big part of my upbringing to watch these films, and somehow it makes me feel closer to my mom, to be in that environment, phonetically as well, to hear that language, to speak in that language. It just felt like it was the right time. I just felt like I was gravitating towards it, and Mom has such a history with the families of NTR sir and Charan sir, that I think it's my honor that I'm being able to work with both these extremely talented actors.
For sure, when I read the script, when I met Raj DK, and then they told me about the idea, and then they gave me the script to read, and I was blown away by it. I thought this is so refreshing, and Raj DK are known to bring in something unique every time. I thought it's so refreshing, and I loved it, totally loved it. And then of course, Dinu joined as a co-producer, and then Amar came on board, and then just as a team, we knew that we were making something very unique and very funny, but how it would explode, none of us had any idea. But it became such a big success that now we are having a part 2 of it. But what changed after that is, I don't know, maybe just people see that, maybe because it did around 132 crores, if I'm not wrong, at the Hindi box office. People trust you more, I guess. The makers trust you more that,
after
you can...
success.
Yeah, when a film is a big hit at the box office, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think because it's also somewhere it's a business model also, especially for producers. so they understand that they can have a film, you know,
Mounted
on my name maybe. Yeah, maybe that helps.
I also
Yeah.
think you reach that many more people, no? Like
Yeah,
when-
yeah. Of course,
Yeah,
no.
for sure.
Newton, Shadi Mein Zarur Aana, which is such a popular film,
Yeah.
Bareilly Ki Barfi, all that happened before Stree. But Stree, of course, did it like hit it out of the park. But honestly, I don't really never sit
Okay.
back and think about it, that how much money Stree had made and what happened to then this one and oh, this one has. I don't calculate. I was very happy working with Stree. I'm equally happy working in Stree too, and in Mahi and in Shrikant.